Welcome to a bonus module of the Advanced Shadow Work, and this is going to be coming from a more NLP hypnotherapy kind of lens. And this is all about the principle of the hypnotic loop. The reason why I wanted to include this is because when I first learned this was probably the most measurable change I had on all my journey of internal work and also self-development and self-improvement. And the reason why is because basically what this was, if you want to go look at my projection video, I highly recommend it. This was like a meta re-owning of responsibility and empowerment in the world. The reason why I say that is because up until now, I had heard the idea, and I actually thought I understood it and I thought I internalized it, that things are happening from us, they're not happening to us. The problem with things happening to us are it takes responsibility out of our hands, it makes us feel powerless. In some ways, it can be quite relieving because it means that, oh, we don't have to take responsibility, and it means that we don't have to take that weight of the responsibility of our life being on our shoulders. We can just place it on something else, whether it's manifestation, the universe, God, all that kind of stuff. But this showed me an actual practical guide of how we're actually co-creating our reality with the reality outside. So we're not creating it fully. There's still a reality happening outside of us, whether we're here or not, but we are in co-creation of that. And the reason why I say I understood that concept before, but I don't think I actually fully internalized it, is because when I saw this, I actually saw how it was happening. So the cheat sheet is going to be on the screen right here, and it'll be in the comment section below for you to go ahead and take a look at. But what the hypnotic loop essentially is beliefs, imagination, physiology, experience, back into beliefs. And it's in a loop, right? It's in a continuous circle. What this shows is how we actually go into downward spirals and how we can go into upward spirals. Okay. It also shows us how we're co-creating the world, like I just said. A third part of that is it also shows that we can affect change. So it's not just having an understanding of how that's happening. Like anyone can say, oh, our reality is happening from us, but it's not happening to us. That's all well and good, but what's the actual things that we can do to change that? This is one of the clearest I've ever seen of how to do that. Comes from one of my big inspirations and mentors, a hypnotherapist and hypnotist in the UK called James Tripp. He's the one that came up with the hypnotic loop. I didn't come up with it. And you can start, the beauty of the hypnotic loop is you can start at any part of it, right? So actually even though beliefs is on top, what I like to start off is experience. The experience of the world affects our beliefs. And our beliefs, our experience and beliefs affect what we think. So this is where imagination is where identities come up. It's where personas come up. It's where personality comes up, and it's where attachment comes up, right? So experience creates beliefs. Because if we have an experience that everyone's really nice to us and they respond really well and we're social to them, we have the beliefs that we should be confident. The world is a safe place. The world is an encouraging place. The world is a nice place to go out and be social. This then affects our imagination because if we have the experience and the beliefs of confidence, we start talking to ourselves in a confident manner. We start encouraging ourselves. We start taking more risks. We start kind of brushing it off when things don't go very well. Because if we have the belief that we are something, the thing about beliefs is that they chop up all of our experiences to feed beliefs, to feed themselves. For example, if we have a really rock solid belief that we're authentically confident, or we're authentically attractive, or we're just worthy, then even if we have all of these experiences of like rejections or people being mean to us, because we have that strong belief, that perspective will remain intact. And actually, it will chop up the experiences and the imaginations that we have about the world. Like let's say if we get rejected like 10 times in a row, what will happen is that the belief, because it's so strong, will chop that up, and it will only take in the data that feeds that belief. So the data that we could take in, for example, would be, oh yeah, I'm just too confident for them, right? They're not confident in all themselves. Or, oh, then maybe they're just having a bad day, something like that. Now, what can happen is if you have enough experiences, then change does happen and those beliefs can be shaken. But most of the time, 9 times out of 10, that doesn't really happen. So we're having experience, belief, and an imagination. And then imagine feeds into our physiology. physiology is this concept of psychophysiology. Psychophysiology, I think it's from NLP and hypnotherapy, or that's when I first heard it, which is our beliefs, our imagination, and our experience affect how we actually physically show up in the world. So, you know, when you see like all these confidence teachers or charisma hacks and all that kind of stuff, they're like, oh, look at people in the eye, take up more space, you know, shoulders back, all that kind of thing. They're trying to affect, whether they know it or not, the physiology part of the hypnotic loop. And that can be effective for a part. But the problem is that not everything in this hypnotic loop is equal, right? Physiology is the easiest to affect, and it's something that can kind of get you out of like a downward spiral or like a dopamine hole, whatever you want to call it. But in terms of lasting change, the thing about physiology is it's just the external body. And the external body, it can affect some change. Like, let's say like you're feeling depressed and you go to the gym, that can make you feel better, but it's only for a short time, because your experience of the world and your beliefs about yourself and the way that you talk to yourself has remained the same. Now, sometimes, like maybe one time out of 100, you just affecting that physiological change and staying in it for such a long time, it can change those things about yourself. However, that requires a ton of willpower, a ton of focus. This is what I actually tried for a year and a half, and it had some effect. I did feel a bit more confident because I showed up more confidently. I was more confident in my body. But to be honest, it's the other three which had the biggest ROI and also was the easiest to fix. And then if you go from experience, your beliefs about yourself, your imagination about yourself, the way that you show up, that affects how you move, that then feeds back into experience of the world. So if you have good beliefs, good imagination, good physiology, that means you'll have a good experience of the world. This is how you start to embody a change, right? This is how upward spirals of excellence are created. This is also how downward spirals are created. But this is actually why some people are just talented at something. Sometimes it can be like a genetically talented thing, like athletically. But this is how somebody can just be good in socially, or someone can just be really confident on a sales call, or somebody can just be really good in the chaos and taking risk. Because in the past, they've had this hypnotic loop, and for whatever reason, whether it's chance or luck, or they've had a good mentor, they've been able to show up in such a way that it's just created this massive positive reinforcement. And the whole point of me putting it in this module is to show you how you can affect this. To have this in your mind all of the time, alongside all of the other stuff. The other stuff is the needle mover. This is the cherry on top. This is like a real mastery level thing. It's something that I don't really think about too much anymore because it's been internalized so much. I actually learned it the other way around, where this is what I learned first. I wish I learned it the other way around first, whereas I learned about introjections, split ego states, projections, and unconditional loving witness. That's the meat and potatoes. Here is just something that once you've kind of got a real competency of all of those things, that you can just do acupuncture points, right? For me, I usually do acupuncture points in the belief level because of the shadow work. And with my one-on-one clients, I do it at the belief level too. The belief level is more tricky at the beginning. That's why I made my free shadow work guide. Go ahead and download it. It's completely free. It's the same system I use to enact change with my one-on-one clients. Because with physiology and imagination, like I said, it creates a lot of willpower and effort. It's also a top-down method where you're trying to enforce something, whereas your experience and your beliefs have not actually changed. So you're trying to force yourself to feel good about yourself while you still have a belief which is crying out like, hey, I need to get fixed. Like, I don't actually like myself. That's what you need to address first. Like I said, that's why I made my free product, so you guys can do that. But for me, whenever I have a little disturbances, I'm not super reactive. If I have little disturbances, most of the time I'm just in equanimity and it's all good. But if there's something that keeps on coming up, if there's a shadow which really draws my attention, then I'll go in straight into the hypnotic loop of the belief section. If I don't have time for that, then maybe I'll go into a little bit of physiology. Maybe I'll remember to talk to myself from the unconditional loving witness, that's imagination. And that does improve my experience of the world. Beliefs, imagination, physiology, they all change your experience of the world. If you stay in that experience of the world for long enough, states into traits, that's what it means. Experience of the world, time of that experience in the world, means you just become that person. So eventually, if you're just confident, socially free, you're able to stand your ground and be assertive whilst also being really warm. If you stay in that state for a long enough time, then you just become that person. Why? Because you start to develop beliefs about yourself that those types of people have. This is how you can make change that's authentic, that's bespoke, that's effective, because you're not forcing yourself to be anything that you're not. You're allowing yourself to go into what that person would be like for you, and then you come out of that experience with all of the thoughts, the beliefs, and the physiology that that version of yourself would have. Best way to use is see which area is the fastest and most effective for you to enact change. That's beliefs, that's imagination, that's physiology, that's experience, and then you change that. It's a subtle way as well, like I said at the beginning, to remind yourself that you do have empowerment, that your mood right now, you do have the potential to change. Another thing that I would just say here is sometimes we just had such a long time in a downward spiral with certain habits and patterns that it might take a little bit of time to change. And that's okay, because what we do right now affects how we're going to feel in an hour from now, in a day from now, in a week from now, in a month from now, maybe even a few months from now, consistently, right? And in a few months from now, if you do this consistently, then you will just be the type of person that can't get affected by whatever downward spiral you may or may not have been in right now, okay? That's just a little bit of word of caution. Sometimes we just have to be patient. That's why the unconditional loving witness is such an important key concept. And then the limitations of this, because I thought I'd cover it, is it doesn't go super deep naturally. The reason why I started this off in the way that I have, and this playlist is the way that it is because this is a bonus module. This is something to add on top. If you don't have the knowledge of introjections, projections, and split ego states, aka going into the root cause and healing that, what this can do is have you engaging in avoidance cycles. Oh, I'm feeling a bit bad. Let me just go to the gym. Oh, I'm in a really bad kind of depressive episode. Let me just talk to myself better, right? It's not actually getting to the root and the heart of what's actually causing this. What's actually making me feel a bit more depressed now? What's actually making me feel socially stifled now? What's making me always take the easy route rather than taking the risk that I know what's good for me? That's the limitations of that. So if you don't have the knowledge of getting deeper than symptom awareness level, then you can just get stuck at symptom awareness. But all in all, this is a phenomenal framework, especially when paired with the rest of this playlist. Go ahead and download my free product. It's free. I'll send you a follow-up email to make sure you're getting everything you need, and we can go back and forth via email to make sure that you are getting the most out of the program. That's all for now. Aaron.